So what you need to do is double click, left click twice, then you see your avatar gets loaded in the scene. So now, like I explained yesterday in Claude 3D, Claude 3D follows the same principle with real life sewing. So just assume this is your drafting table or your cutting table where you cut out the clothes you are going to be making, and this is the virtual model in your 3D window that is going to be wearing your clothes. You have also been provided with some tools that you use to draw out your pattern. So I'm going to go ahead now and draw the pattern for the dashiki, then I'm going to simulate it in my 3D window. So to draw the pattern, I'm going to select my polygon tool. And you can see this is our polygon tool. I'm going to select it. All right, polygon. Then I'm going to start drawing. All right, so the thing about a dashiki is that you can see that dashikis have some free space. It is not a tight cloth like singlet. So we are going to have that information in mind. We don't want the clothes to be too tight while making it. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. Let's put this here. Okay. We can take this down a little bit. Then the dashiki cloth is usually long. So I'm just going to make this a little bit long. This is the height of the cloth now. So okay, about this height is okay. Then we don't want it to be too tight. So I'm still going to give the width a little bit of length. Yes, so this is looking good. So we can, okay, let's connect this to this place. Yeah, we can go ahead and connect this there. So you don't worry about this basic shape. We are just trying to form the first side of the cloth. We are going to still edit this pattern to get something more interesting. So once you close up a pattern like this, it forms a shape. And this is the basic shape that you are going to be using to create the dashiki we are trying to work with. All right. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to reduce the opacity of this. When I say opacity, it means transparency. Now, the reason I'm reducing the transparency is because I want to be able to see through this white so I can be able to see my silhouette. So this is the silhouette of the avatar I'm making. I want to be able to use that to determine the size and be able to measure accurately. So I'm going to go to my fabric option. Then under my fabric, I'm going to go to opacity. Then I'm going to reduce. So once I reduce it, you can see now that I can see through this, so I can be able to get a better measurement. All right. So we are going to go ahead now and start editing. But before I edit, I'm going to unfold this. Now, the best way and one of the fastest way to work in Claude 3D while creating clothes is that you draw one side of the cloth, then you unfold it. I think this is the same principle with sewing in real life. So we are going to draw the side. We have drawn the side already. The next thing we are going to do is that we are going to unfold it. But we are not just going to unfold it. We are going to unfold it as a symmetrical pattern. So that is to say, once we unfold it, whatever action we carry on this side will be carried on the reflected side. So to do that, I'm going to left click on the middle line here. I'm going to then right click, then it brings out these options. Then I'll select unfold symmetric editing with sewing. Perfect. So you can see we are gradually starting to get the shape of our dashiki. But we want this to be more dashiki looking. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to my pattern editing tools and start to shape the dashiki so it can look much more better. So I'm going to come here, okay, edit pattern. So with your edit pattern tool, you can either select your point and you can select your segment. So let's move this a little bit around. Okay. Then we want to give this curve. If we look at our clothes, our reference, we'll notice that we can see this curve here. So we want to create that curve. So to do that, what we are simply going to do is that we are going to go to our edit curvature tool, and we are just going to drag on the line to give it a curve. All right, you can see we already have a nice looking curve. Another place we want a nice looking curve is on the sleeves. So we can just go ahead and let's go with this and pull this down a little bit. Aha. So this is starting to look good. All right. So I think what we can do next with this shape is that we can start working with this. So I'm going to take the opacity up again. When I say opacity, I mean transparency of the cloth in the 2D pattern window and even the 3D too. So once I take it up, you can see that you can see my clothes reflecting very clearly. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to select this and I'm going to break the symmetry. So to break the symmetry, I simply select remove linked editing. So now that I've broken the initial symmetry, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to duplicate this to the other side because I want to make the back of my clothes now. I've made the front. So to make the back, I'm still going to follow the same principles of using symmetry. So I'm just going to copy and paste this as a symmetry. But just before I do that, I'm going to like to raise this up a little bit, the shoulder. Because you know, just like when you are sewing your clothes in real life, you want to make sure that you have enough allowance for the cloth when it's going around to the shoulder this way. So this looks too close to the shoulder, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of raise. I'm going to give it this tiny raise. Now I have to select both sides because I have removed the link symmetry. So now you see, if I try to perform an action, this side is not going to be reflecting the action again like it was before because I have removed the linked symmetry. So it is important that when you start your clothes, if you don't want to take too much time making the clothes, you just apply the link symmetry. All right. So the next action we are going to be doing is that we are going to copy and paste this so we can have the back of this cloth before we now sew it and continue editing it to get a very good shape. All right. So for those that are just joining us, I would like to state once again that you are highly welcome, and this is what we are trying to achieve in today's free class. We are trying to create this good-looking dashiki. So now I'm going to right-click. Then I'm going to come here and say symmetric pattern. So whenever you see symmetric pattern, what it simply means is that make this pattern editable with the former one. Whatever action you are carrying on the first pattern should be able to be carried out on the second pattern. So that is to say, now if I select my edit pattern and move this like this, you can see this one is moving too. If I move this downwards, you can see this one is moving too. So this is the very best way to work because it's going to save you a lot of time. If you actually don't apply this link symmetry, that means you are going to carry out a movement here, have to go and carry it out here again. And when you are trying to get your basic shapes, you want to make sure that you don't take too much time with that. You want to make sure that your front measurement and the back measurement are the same thing. So you want to now do your further editing. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be taking this to this back here and I'm going to be sewing it together. So if you come to your 3D view, you are going to notice something. You are going to notice that this side, if I turn it this way, you see that this side is the back of the clothes, while this is the front of the clothes. You can see that this part looks a little bit dark. And when you are sewing in real life, you don't want to sew the back of your clothes. You want to sew put the back side inwards, and you want to put the outer side outwards. So to do that, how do I flip this now? What I simply do is that I right click and I say flip horizontally. So I can have the back side facing outside because this is the side I'm going to be putting at the back of the clothes. So then I'm going to move this a little bit here. Just a little bit. See that we have quite a good measurement. Then I push it backwards. Aha. So this is starting to look good already. Now one thing you will notice now is that I moved this manually, but there is actually a way you can do it that it will make your movement and positioning your clothes faster, and that's by selecting the tool called the arrangement point. So if you come to this set of tools here and you select this one here, avatar display, you come to the second one and say show arrangement point. You can see all these blue points that have been highlighted in this place. So what these blue points do is that they allow placement of load to be easier. So just imagine I have this in this place initially and I want to put it in this frontier. What I simply need to do is to select the pattern I intend to place, and then I just come and select the point I want it to be placed at. Say I'm going to place this one here. You can see it even gives it this curve that will make simulation and showing it much more better. So I'm going to select this one too. I'm going to move it just for the purpose of showing you. Of course, you can always do it manually, but this way is much more faster. So you can just select where you want to show it to with this blue point. If I select it on this blue point at the leg, it's going to go to the leg. If I was working with the sleeves, of course, I'm going to select one of the blue points on the sleeves, but I'm just going to select this and come and drop it here. All right. So I would like to say, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask on the group chat. If I am going too fast, or if you are not understanding any of the teaching process, please feel free to ask me. I'm ready to explain to you and make sure that you understand much more better. All right. All right. So some people are requesting that the class goes on Facebook. Please just give us a moment with that. My partner is going to see to that. All right. So now I can move this a little bit here. Aha. So this is looking sweet already. It's gradually looking sweet. We can take off the arrangement point since we no longer need it. So we can move it down just a little bit. And the next thing we are going to be doing is that we are going to be sewing the clothes together. So the way you sew in Cloth 3D is almost the way you sew in real life. You use threads to sew in this place, just that sewing here is much more easier. All you need to do is to sew is just to use one click. So you have about 2 different types of sewing machine. You have your first sewing machine. You can see this sewing machine icon here, and you can see the second one. So your first sewing machine icon is the segment sewing, while the second one is the free sewing. But we are going to be using the segment sewing. What the segment sewing does is that it allows you to sew side to each other. It allows you to sew lines or segments to each other. So I'm going to select this, my segment sewing, click on this, then I click on this. Then I'm going to go, then I click on this too. Aha. So what I'm doing is that I'm just showing the sides that I feel should be joined together. Now you can either sew in your 2D pattern window or you can sew in your 3D window, whatever makes the process much easier. A lot of times I like to sew in my 3D window because I can see where I'm going to be sewing to. The thing with sewing is that you don't want to make a mistake while you are sewing your clothes. See, if I sew this side and I try sewing it to this side, now you see that I have this crossing of the thread. So when you are sewing, you want to make sure that you are sewing, if it's this side you are sewing, you are actually sewing it with this other side of the cloth, so you can have a better result. All right. So sorry. Okay. So I'm going to sew this part to this part now. So please ask questions. We are going to have a question and answer session too. So whatever question you have in mind, you can prepare it. I'm going to see that I add to it. So now that we have sewn all the parts together and this is looking a little bit good, we now press the simulate button. You see this button up here. What this button says is that tell the avatar to wear the clothes. Join the clothes together based on what you have sewn. So once I click on this button, you can see that my avatar wears my clothes. But this my clothes is not looking so sweet like that. It's looking a little bit like a gown material, and I want something better. All right. So in this instance, you don't need to worry. What you just need to do is that you come and give your clothes further editing in this place. So the thing is that with your first simulation, you might not get the perfect result you want, but that's the whole deal about Cloth 3D. You keep on, you keep on doing and doing and doing till you get the right thing you want. So I'm going to come to this point here, and I'm going to move it out a little bit. I'm going to come to this point, come to this point here, then let's move it out. So I'm going to move it by let's move it by 40. Okay, aha, and let's try simulating again. Okay, this is starting to look better. I didn't want it to have that kind of gown curve before, so this is looking better. But we still want it to have this flare. We still want it to look bigger, because if you are familiar with the dashiki, you will know that, oh, the dashiki is actually a free cloth. Okay, this one is, I think this one is customized to look smaller, but if you know the dashiki, you know that, oh, this cloth is actually the big type of clothes. So to do that, what I'm simply going to do is that I'm going to come and edit it in the fabric properties. Now, there are two ways you can deal with your clothes while working with Clo3D. Number one, you can edit your clothes from the 2D pattern. Number two, you can also deal with your clothes with some sets of information that you have been given with, which are called detail. So if I come to my fabric, under my fabric, I come and click on this detail option here. It will bring out those options: stretch weft, stretch warp, shear, bending weft, bending warp. All of these are actually going to play an important role. Not all though, but sometimes when you're trying to get a specific result, it's good to have an idea of how some of your property details work. So we are going to see how we can make this a little bit wider. And another way you can actually increase your clothes is that you can actually increase the percentage, the size of all your clothes, by coming to this option called your shrinkage weft and your shrinkage warp. So once I click on the clothes, it automatically brings the option here: shrinkage weft and shrinkage warp. So what these tools allow you to do is that they allow you to increase your cloth horizontally without touching the pattern. So if I put this at 110 and I try simulating again, you see that my cloth has gotten much more bigger. Aha, this is good. I think I'm getting the feeling I'm trying to get, that dashiki feeling. And if I come to the shrinkage warp, it's going to increase my cloth, I think vertically, but I just want this to be horizontally. I think we have gotten a good size. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to see how I can still make this more flamboyant, how I can still make this wider. You can be cool with this result, that's fine. I think this also works for the kind of clothes we are trying to create, but just for the purpose of experimenting, I'm going to click on my fabric and I'm going to come to my bending weft and my bending warp again, and I'm going to increase this to about 50. So what this bending warp and bending weft does is that it increases, it's like puts breeze inside your clothes to make your clothes look wider. So I've pressed 50-50 here, and when I try simulating, okay, sorry, I'm going to click on the simulation button again. I can see my dashiki starting to look a little bit wider. Aha. So this is not bad for a dashiki. This is starting to look good. Another thing you can do while working with Clo3D is that you can always edit your options, your simulated clothes, by clicking on it and dragging it if it's not sitting well on your avatar. So I'm just going to move this a little bit because I think there is a slight change. Okay, it's not looking too bad. It's looking okay actually. So I think we can work with this for the shape of the dashiki. It looks a little bit big, but I think this is the result we are trying to get. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is how we can texture this dashiki. So the good thing about Clo3D is that, you know, when you want to make a cloth like this, you might be scared that, oh, how am I going to make this whole amount of details? What am I going to do about this? How am I going to have to sew this? No, you don't have to sew this. You can actually just carry a texture like this, and place it on your clothes. So to get a dashiki texture, what I've done is that I've gone to Google and I've searched for dashiki texture. So you can just press dashiki texture and you see a lot of different options. So I've downloaded this option. This is what I'm going to be placing on my clothes. So when I come to Clo3D, I can simply click on this. Then come to this option that allows us to actually apply a pattern. But before I apply a pattern, I would like to change the color of this clothes. Let's give this black, since our dashiki is black. So we can give this a black fabric. Aha. This is looking good. Black, black, black. We can reduce the swelling up of the clothes so that it doesn't look at this sharp curve here. We don't want it to be too sharp. So we can just go ahead and reduce this to about 30 and 30. All right, I hope you all are understanding what I'm teaching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask on our group chats. I will attend to your questions immediately after the session. Okay, so just trying to work out, see that my cloth is well simulated. Okay, I think we can work with this. This is looking better. I think we can work with this. All right. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to be importing my dashiki texture. So I'm going to select this graphic tool, this option here, and I'm going to go and select dashiki that I've downloaded. So this is the dashiki I downloaded from Google, but instead of applying it directly like that, if I apply it like this, it's still going to work. But I don't want the background surrounding the clothes. So I've gone ahead to just cut out the pattern from the clothes. You can use many softwares to actually cut out patterns from the clothes. You have some eraser softwares, and you can use Photoshop. For this, I use Photoshop. So I'm just going to click open. Then I'm going to select where I want to drop that dashiki texture in. Aha. And it's going to ask me that how big do I want to make my dashiki texture. So I'm just going to say, okay, maybe I'm going to make this about 300 to make it much more bigger. I'm just going to say, okay. Aha. Now you can see that this texture has been placed on this, but I want my texture to be bigger than this. I want it to be, because if we look at our reference, we are going to notice that the texture actually occupies a large part of the cloth. So to do that, I'm simply going to select on this tool, the edit texture tool, which allows us to scale the texture. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to, okay, drag this up. For instance, I'm going to use this tool, then drag this up like this. Aha. So I think this is looking good. This is looking sweet. So very simply, we are getting the style we want. We are getting the style of our dashiki. This is starting to look good already. But I would also like to have some flexibility with this part of my clothes. If you look at this dashiki wear that we are trying to make, you see that it has this kind of feel, this kind of shiny feel. Of course, this is not velvet, and the material we are getting is almost looking like this, but I want something that looks much more cooler, that reflects the light of the dashiki much more better. So I'm going to use a velvet fabric on this cloth. So to do that, what I'm simply going to do is that I am going to come to this place. Let's see. I'm going to come to my fabric option. We have different fabric, default fabric in this place. So I'm going to select this fabric, this particular fabric here that looks like velvet. Select it, and I'm simply going to drop it on my clothes. Aha. I'm going to turn the back and I'm going to drop it too. Perfect. So you can see we have a much more finer looking fabric. I can change this to black if I want to by simply selecting on the country stretch velvet and then selecting black. But I'm not going to use black because I feel this green color actually works well with this dashiki. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to import the trusses. I can as well model the trusses, but because I want to give us enough time to ask our questions, and I don't want this class to last very long, so I'm just going to import the trusses that I've modeled. So when you're working with Cloth 3D, you can always import different patterns of clothes to make your work process faster. So I'm going to select File, Open, Open, Project. Do I want to save this? Yes, I want to save it. So I'm going to save this as desktop. I'm going to save this as dashiki. Dashiki. Okay. And I'm going to save this. Okay. Okay, now it's asking me, what do I want to open? I want to open this. This is the previous dashiki I had modeled. So I'm just going to import it. It's going to ask me, do I want to open the dashiki or I want to add it? I'm going to select add. Do I want to add the avatar or I want to add just the clothes? I'm going to say I want to add just the garment. So I'm going to say, okay. Aha. So it brings out all those previous clothes that I've worked with. So I'm going to take this off because I want just the trousers. Aha. So this is looking good already. We have our trousers in already. So I can as well give the trousers the same material that I've given the shirt so that we can just have everything rhyming much more better. So drop, drop, and drop. Aha. So we are having this nice looking shape. Now the thing about Clotilde is that once you are done with your clothes, your first pass like this, you should always know that you have the flexibility of going ahead to do your further edits. Like now, I might say, oh, I feel this sleeves is too short. So I can actually go ahead and select my sleeves, and just continue to edit. There is no rush in this. You can go do whatever you want to, you get a better shape. I can simulate this. Aha. So you just keep on playing around till you get your shape. You can also come back to this fabric where I've gotten in this place here. You can select this. We can still scale this up much more than we have done before, if you like. Aha. So I think this is it. This is very simple. Okay, yes, we have the back pattern of the clothes too. I used symmetry to make this part. So, but when you look at the back pattern of a dashiki, you don't want the neck collar going as low as this. So what you are going to do to get this up now is very simple. You are simply going to break the symmetry between these two parts. You are going to right click and you are going to say remove link editing so that this part of the cloth can stand alone on its own. Then you can go to your edit pattern tool and take this part up. So in fact, let's just delete all of this. We delete this point so that we can have it straight. Then we'll now go ahead to our edit curvature tool and bring this down a little bit more. Bring it down a little bit more. Aha, so let's try simulating again. Aha. So we have our back part of our dashiki taken care of, and we have our front part of our dashiki taken care of. All right. So thank you. I think this is all. This is all. This is the step you require while you are trying to create a cloth like a dashiki. The same way is the same technique you are going to use to create stuffs like singlets, many other things. So very simple. Just draw out your pattern of whatever you are trying to create. Import whatever texture you are trying to use. Apply some fabric materials from your fabric library, and then I think you are good to go. So I'm going to check now if there are any questions in the group chats. If there are questions, I'm going to be attending to your questions right now. But if there are no questions, I think we can, move this to our next time we have a training. So thank you very much. I'm going to be on the Telegram right now, and I'm going to be expecting questions. If you have any question, just drop your question, please. All right. Just a moment, please. Let me see if anyone has a question to ask. Then while we are waiting for someone to ask a question, I'm just quickly going to take you through a couple of our works at Audax Studio to show you the possibilities of what you can make with Clo3D. So this is a showreel of some of the works I have created in Clo3D. Clo3D does not allow you to just create your clothes. It also allows you to add animation to your clothes. So with Clo3D, you have the option of not just making a clothes, but also creating your visual fashion show. So as you can see this, So you can do your own way. You can select the different stage. You have different stages in Clo3D where you can place your clothes. All right, someone just asked the question now. Someone asked if it is possible to use the software for Gele and art and face cap. Well, what Clo3D allows you to do is that Clo3D allows you to create your clothes. You create your clothes with Clo3D, but then when you want to get extra details like face cap, you can do face cap on Clo3D, of course, but things that are more detailed like Gele. Gele is a traditional Nigeria headgear. You are going to need to combine some other software. So for you to have more flexibility while working, you are going to need to have a little bit of knowledge of other software. But once you have created those things like Gele on other software, then you can now import it into Clo3D for further editing. All right, somebody is asking that what is the name of the app and where can I get it? All right, so the name of this software is called Clo3D. Now, Clo3D is not a free software, although when you purchase Clo3D, you can get a trial, a free trial. But now the good thing is that we also give Clo3D to our students in our free training. Once you register for our training, we are going to provide you with Clo3D, we are going to provide you with Photoshop, we are going to provide you with Autodesk Maya and Marvelous Designer. Somebody just asked me now that how can you make the Gele? Yes, so with softwares like Autodesk Maya, you can make the Gele. So once you register for our training, I'm going to say that I give you and also put you through the installation process of all the software. And very quickly, another thing. Okay, somebody is asking the question. Okay, but please let me just quickly go through this before I answer this question. All right, so if you have asked the question and you have another question to ask, we have some free time, so you can actually still go ahead and ask more questions. I'm going to answer all of the questions you are asking. So apart from giving free clothes for the software for our training, our extended training, of course, this is not a free training. This is actually a 5 weeks extensive class where I'm going to be teaching how to make a lot of cool stuff. So apart from giving the software for free, I'm also going to be giving out some free virtual clothes so that if you are just starting Clo3D, you are not going to have so much difficulty. I'm going to give you the clothes so you can also use it in case you want to start a business later on with Clo3D and you need some resources to start with. Then another thing about our free training is that we are going to be employing highly skilled tutors to put you through. So we're also going to be giving you class projects in case you have questions to ask. All right. So our training costs 50,000 naira for beginners to intermediate class, and for the advanced class, it also costs 50,000. Each class runs for 5 weeks, and the basic thing I can show you about the class is that you are going to go from being a beginner in Clo3D to being able to make amazing things like this. All right. So somebody's asked me, so I'm going to answer everybody's question. The next question somebody asks is, the Agbada design that you displayed, did you design the embroidery on it, or you also just downloaded it like the texture? Well, I designed the embroidery on it, but I did not design the embroidery on Clo3D. I designed the embroidery on Photoshop. So what I'm going to advise you to do is that while you are learning Clo3D, it is very good you have knowledge of one texture software or one editing software, and I think Photoshop is just the best for this option. I use Photoshop to, have more flexibility with my textures. So I drew out the texture of my Agbada on Photoshop and I brought it in. But I didn't draw everything entirely. Of course, I downloaded some part of the texture and then I combined it to build up the embroidery. Then the next question somebody is asking is that is it possible designing personal textures without downloading online? Yes, you can design your texture on Photoshop. There are so many ways you can design your personal texture. Then I think another thing you might want to ask too is that how do you import the texture of your clothes? Maybe you have this very beautiful clothes that you have sewn, and you want to create a replication of it in Clo3D. You want to be able to import your clothes texture into Clo3D, and you're asking that, oh, how do I go about this? All right, so what you can do in instances like that is that you can actually take a picture of your textured fabric. So I'm going to show you something right away. For instance, now you have this as an Ankara fabric. So when you want to take a picture, you want to achieve something like this. You want to make sure that you don't have any wrinkles on your texture fabric. You want to make sure that the lighting is equal. So whenever you are taking the picture, it is well lit. There is no fabric because you want it to look so plain because you're actually going to be replicating it on your clothes. All right. So, and yes, you can actually create your fabric depending on how much knowledge you have on Photoshop. In our class, we are going to be teaching you a little bit about Photoshop. So you are going to be able to use Photoshop too while editing your clothes. So somebody's asking me another question right now. Somebody's asking me that during the course of the extensive training, will you be taking us through the other softwares which will be provided or just Clo3D? Yes, we are going to be taking you through the other software. In fact, we are going to be looking at more software than this. We're also going to be looking at Mixamo, another software, depending on the class you take. So for our beginner class, we are going to be looking at Clo3D. We're also going to be looking at Photoshop. So with Clo3D and Photoshop, you can create a lot of crazy and amazing things. But if you intend to go pro, you want to be like a professional, you want to do this for a business, you can also feel free to take our advanced class, which is also for 50,000 naira. Now, I didn't mention this earlier. If you take our 2 classes, we also give a bonus of 5%. So yes, that's the answer to your question. Yes, we are going to be taking you through all the software to say that you can also use the software well enough. All right. Let me see if someone is asking another question. Okay. So please feel free to ask more questions. This class was intended to be for much longer than this, but since we were able to finish early enough, I think you can feel free to ask any more question before I call this class a wrap. All right, somebody is asking another question. I want to gist with you guys, so please gist with me. Feel free to ask me any question, whatever is on your mind, whatever concept you want to clear about this whole 3D visual fashion and how it works. Please feel free to ask me. I'm willing to gist with you. Make me your gist partner tonight. Okay, when is the paid class starting? The paid class is going to be starting December 10. That's when we are going to be having our next session. But the good thing now is that once you can make payments for our paid class, we are going to have a call with you and we are going to provide you with the software. We are going to help you to install the software on your computer. Install the software on your computer. We are going to also help you to install Adobe Photoshop. Then we are also going to give you all the free clothes that we have promised you. We are going to give it to you so you can have all of the clothes resources before we start the class. So because we don't want to start the class immediately, then we are just putting you through the installation. So once you make payments, we help you install the software and we also give you this. Then we also give you the syllabus and the brochure for the class. So we are open to accepting payment. You can start making your payment right now. Once you make your payment, we get you registered for the class. We provide the software. We provide all the free resources that you need. So somebody is asking that, is there any difference between the Clo 5.1 and 6.0? Yes, there is a difference between Clo 5.2 and Clo 6.0. The difference are not usually much, but I like it when you have your software updated, because of course there are always new features that come out with every new upgraded version of the clothes. I think you should actually go for Clo 6.0 because I think Clo 6.0 has some new features. I think it has some new arrangements. So please go for Clo 6.0. You are going to have more flexibility while you are working. Yes. So, okay, we are having more questions. Somebody asks now, that is the training only once a year? No, the training is not just once a year, but the next training we are having now is going to be December 10, and it's going to be running for a space of 5 weeks. All right. So I'm enjoying talking to you guys. I'm enjoying this our G session. So please feel free to ask me more questions if you have any more questions. While I can, let me see if I have some of my work here that I can, just open while we are discussing. Okay, how do I make payment in USD. Okay, that is not going to be an issue. Once you want to make payments, we are just going to give you our detail. You can text us personally. We usually have students from different parts of the world to sign up for our training. So just make inquiries. You can text us on Telegram. You can reach out to us on Instagram. Preferably, you can send us a DM on Instagram. You can get our number. We are going to keep on communicating with you. So payments shouldn't be an issue. You can use Western Union to pay. You can pay with World Remit. Whatever works fine. So while we are asking our questions, I'm just going to open some of my works with you guys because I think we are all friends here. And I think I'm going to enjoy showing you some of the things I've made. Yep. So I'm going to be open this. I think we are done with our Dashiki class now. So far, not saved. Do you want to save? Okay. No, I don't need to save this. Okay. Just before we end the class, I'm just going to show you something regarding the project I've worked on. Okay, this is taking a little bit time to load because of it is actually a file. Okay. Oh, this is not what I want to open. This is to I want to open one that actually has an avatar, but of course this is being made in Clotilde. The way I just showed you how to make the Dashiki by drawing out your pattern, then replicating it in this place. But I want to open one that is more friendly for you to see. So we can talk more about the process and you can actually enjoy this more. So open. Aha. So please feel free to ask any question you have. Ask me any question. I'm going to still answer your question. We have some time to ourselves. Aha. So look at this now. This is something too that was made in Clotilde. This is a 3-piece suit. So this one is like a more complex type of clothes. You can see each of those pattern was made layer by layer, starting from the shirt. You can see this is the fabric of the shirt with the collar. You can see this is the jacket. He's actually wearing a jacket under a 2-piece jacket, so you can see the 2 buttons of the jacket. Then you have the suit. Yeah. All right. So then you have the trousers made here. Aha. Then with other software, like I mentioned earlier on, where's the please, just a moment, please. With the other software, like what's the name, like Maya, that we are going to be giving you once you make payment for our class. The other software like Maya, now you can add extra details like tie. You can add tie to this place. You can add a tie clip. You can add a lot. You can add wristwatch, whatever you want to add. Like if you see some of the works that I just showed you now, let me show you. I think I have an example of this work. I have the full rendered version. Sorry, just a moment, please. Aha, you can see. So that was the base for this stuff I'm showing you right now. So you can see I have added a tie clip in Maya. I've also added some other things in Maya. So basically with Clotilde, you can actually make a lot. There is really no limit to what you can make. Whatever clothing pattern you have, you can always make it. And the beautiful thing about Clotilde is that once you learn the skill, there is high demand for it. You can start a business out of Clotilde because once you know how to use Clotilde well, we are going to have okay, somebody just asked the question right now, self, about what I was about to say. Somebody just asked, I hope there will be a little talk about how we can actually turn this into business, how to earn with the skill, probably after the work hours. Fine. That's what I was about to talk about now. So we actually run Clotilde as a business. We actually create clothes for clients. We don't have all of our works for clients posted on our page, but by the time you know how to use Clotilde, you are going to have a lot of people asking you that, oh, I have this cloth I want to be able to showcase. I don't know how to, make it virtual. Please, can you make this virtual for me? So you definitely have that. You just need to find the right way to promote your works. Once you make a cloth, you can promote on your different social media. Then you have people definitely messaging you and saying, oh, please, can you turn my clothes into the virtual form so that I can actually showcase it to my prospective customers. Another thing is that you can actually sell your clothes. There are a lot of platforms that you can sell clothes after you are making it, after you have made it. So if you are the kind of fashion designer that has a lot of crazy ideas in your mind, you can freestyle with Clo3D. You can see that I have a lot of dancing videos. I don't just like to be I don't like to be constricted to one style of art. I want to have my clothes doing this and doing that. So you can actually sell those videos, you can sell the works, you can sell it to different industries, you can sell it as NFT, you can sell it to animators, you can sell it to CGI companies. A lot of ways to make money from Clo3D, of course, after you have learned it. So this skill is not just about knowing how to use the software. It's also going to teach you, it's also going to help you to make money. So I think, yeah, that's one more question. I don't know if there's any more question before I call this class a wrap. I've enjoyed talking to you guys tonight. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask me. After the class, you can also always ask us any questions. We are going to respond to your questions. The beautiful thing about registering for our training is that we are going to, okay, how do you make embroidery look realistic on Africa attire? Okay, somebody just asked that question. Well, you can actually make your embroidery look realistic. That is going to be determined on some certain factors. The thing about Clo3D now is that you can actually, when you are making embroidery, you want to make the pattern push out. So you can actually import it, as is usually referred to as a displacement map or as a bump map. So you can actually import your embroidery texture to look swollen, so you can have that realistic feel. You can also use other softwares like Maya, other softwares we'll be teaching to actually, get better with other things and get better results. So I think that's all for now. I've been able to attend to all the questions we have. The thing about registering for our training now is that you can always ask questions. You are going to have access to our professionals who are always going to be willing to answer your questions. Whenever you have questions, you just reach out to them, and of course they answer you. So it's not as if we just teach you and we let go. You can always ask. You are always going to be connected to the community. All right. So please reach out to us. Reach out to us. Feel free if you want to make more details about our extended training. Reach out to us. We are going to be very excited to answer your question. So with that, I'm going to just chill a little bit. If there is one more last question anyone would like to ask before I round up this class. Okay, so I'm not having any more questions. So thank you guys very much for attending this class. It's been a pleasure taking you through this process. We have more exciting things coming up from Audacity Studio. You can pay attention to our page. We have more exciting works we are coming up with. The thing about Audacity Studio is that our goal has always been to push the boundary, and just like our name says, odd axis, we are trying to be odd with the world fashion something. So if you are trying to jump on the trend with us, you can start learning from us. We can teach you the secret to being the best. We can teach you the secret to being different in this visual fashion game. And I can assure you that if you sign up for our extended training class, you are going to be learning so much. All right, with that being said, once again, my name is David Ayokomi, or you can refer to me as Ayo David, and I am the creative director of Audacity Studio. I've had a beautiful time talking to you guys and sharing some of my knowledge with you guys. I hope I see you in our extended class. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful night first. Thank you.